It's interesting. I've joked about this with Jason before. When people if somebody comes up to me at a tournament or at the PGA show or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, I love your work," what they actually mean by that is like, I saw like 3 tweets that you like wrote.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and one of them made me laugh or whatever. And you're like, man, is that my work? Or is that like, it's been weird and really, I think kind of a bummer for both of us. 'Cause I think I speak for you. Like, I love writing and I love reading, and I think that those things are like, they're what I feel like is my wheelhouse and what I enjoy the most. And so if those are, as I say all this on a podcast, as those are devalued, I just don't know what that future looks like. And my hope is that as more information gets thrown onto the internet every day with AI and with, you have more and more and more content and information, then hopefully the human stuff, which obviously we try to do it in normal sport, you do a ton with digest and on your own. I'm hoping the value of that goes up, but I don't know. I don't know what that future looks like.
The problem is like the habits that seem to be forming in people, and a lot of people, when we have this conversation, we say the younger generation, but I think it's even in our generation. I think it's in like our parents' generation. I think it affects everybody. Totally. Yeah, like it's crazy when I hang out with my parents now, how much is just on their phones. And they're, I love my parents. I'm not knocking them, but it's like, this is what people do now. They just sit around on their phones, and it's very easy to do that. I kind of have to force myself to read books, even personally now, where I'm like, all right, it's time to sit down and read, because it would be easy to get in bed and just get lost in Facebook Reels or something at night on my computer. I started a book last night of short stories by Flannery O'Connor, and there was an introduction by someone she knew who it was a 30-page thing, intro on her writing, her life, and it was like, I think this was probably published in 1970 or something, but it was like a time machine. It's like, oh my God, this is what people treated writing like. This is how seriously they took it. This is how big it was, how central a piece of the culture. And to transport to now, and it's like, Jesus, if I can get like 3,000 people to read a story I wrote, it's like, that's average, right? I mean, it's just crazy how much it's changed, how hard it is to get eyeballs, even on writing that's not very deep, right? It's like, I write this preview post for a tournament every week where it's 10 things. It's bite-sized little paragraph chunks. They're designed to be funny. They're designed to be very readable. People like them, but it's like, forget about it. If I do a video on Tree Island, like I did at the Players, 200,000 people are going to watch it, right? And it's going to be, 1 million comments. And it's like, if I get 7 retweets on my tweet about my written piece, we've killed it. We've killed it for the week. So it sucks. It sucks in a lot of huge ways, because even for us, it will naturally transform what we do. Right, and even the way we think, possibly. So it'll probably have the effect of, if it hasn't already, eroding our writing skills with time. But it's what makes stuff like you do so important. You are, I think, so interesting because you are committed to the writing thing, and you're really good at it, and you're succeeding. But you're succeeding in the way that I think it's always going to have to be successful from here on out, which is in this boutique way, where you have your audience and they find you. But it's not a mainstream outlet, right? It's your outlet, which is on one hand great and a huge success story. On the other hand, indicative of the larger patterns, I think.
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that. It's funny. Like, I actually think you mentioned the younger generation, and it's easy to blame Gen Z or whatever. I actually think this is perhaps anecdotal, but like, it seems like there's more pushback from Gen Z on the digital, like, TikTokification of the world than from maybe our generation or even our parents. Like, I do think that, you see stuff about like, 25, 30-year-olds like going toward dumb phones and trying to have more IRL experiences and all these different things. And you're like, man, that's great. And I do wonder if there's going to be the same shift in the same way that like when our parents and grandparents smoked cigarettes and we were like, why'd you get, like, that's obviously like not what you should be doing. And we didn't do it, or did it a lot less. I do wonder if like the 25-year-olds are like, why were you guys on your phones all the time? Like, that's terrible for you.
Well, so this gets into an incredibly touchy subject, and it sounds like you and I are on the same page, but we both have kids, and it's like, my kids will not have smartphones, period. I mean, once they're out of high school, they can do what they want, but for those same reasons. But man, like try to have this conversation with people 10 years older than us. And it's like, they didn't know. They were giving their kids the cigarettes, right? Like it's like when their kids were 7, they had like smartphones, or, you know, maybe that's an exaggeration, but they were doing it, and nobody likes to be in that position of being like, did I kind of screw up? But yeah, so I think it's like important for people like us to do that, where it's at least give these kids like 18 years of free cell phone free existence so that they have that base. But also I think you're totally right about Gen Z. I've seen stories where these kids who are immersed in phone culture will say to the reporter, you know, en masse, a lot of them will say, yeah, I wish it wasn't like this. I wish I could get away from my iPhone. So even the people who are immersed in that, and I think sometimes they're framed as these passive prisoners that, oh, they don't know any better, and so they're just in this thing. They know it sucks, right? They know it's terrible, and they want to be out of it, and they hunger for human experiences and a deeper connection, because that stuff, even if you grew up in the YouTube culture or whatever, I think that's just part of being human. It's like, you know, that's out there, you sense it's out there, and you sense that this is not how you want to live your life. But again, it's not just Gen Z falling into that trap, right? It's kind of all of us who are, you know, tempted by the dopamine hits.
Do you think, by the way, going all the way through high school without smartphone, that's aggressive. How old's your oldest?
So yeah, it's like 8. So it's like, I know people are like, just wait. And I'm like, yeah, but you have no idea how tough and mean I am. Right. But like
sure.
I grew up with mean parents, you know, in a good way. I'm like, they can yell at me. They can hate me all they want. They'll thank me one day. I just always say like, I'll be fine. Yeah. Me and my wife are both jerks. We'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it on your LinkedIn profile. So our oldest is about to be 13. None of them have phones, but a lot of their friends do. And
yeah,
it's not necessarily harder to say no. Like, it's just been no. I think the one pushback I have against withholding throughout is that you never get to like teach them how to smoke the cigarettes. Like, if they're gonna eventually smoke the cigarettes, then
right.
you want to like be able to moderate it, or like be alongside them for it. I don't know why we're talking about this on a golf
smoking
podcast.
With them.
Smoking with them, exactly.
Me and my kids getting drunk on the internet.
Exactly. So I do think we will eventually jump into that, but we haven't yet.